What's going on, yo? This Pedo back with another book review. Today we doing When I Was Your Age by Kenan Thompson. The GOAT, the legend, the OG, Mr. All That, Mr. Kenan Kel. Definitely a good book. Definitely was dope. Took me some places I didn't expect. Definitely was good read, man. If y'all read this book, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. This Pedo back with another book review. Let's get it. All right, one of the first things he talked about in his book was that he was from Atlanta. I had no idea. I think he went to Tri-Cities High School. I had no clue. He was raised in the area that I kind of live in now, which is weird. I just never knew he was from the A, man. I always just thought he was from California or something like that. I guess from watching D2, Mighty Ducks 2, then he was representing like a Compton kid or whatever. But I just never knew the guy was from Atlanta. A lot of history. He talked about a lot of the clubs being in 112. Like, the way he was talking, I know he for a fact that he was actually here, living here, and experiencing Atlanta, like in Atlanta heyday, not like it is now. But yeah, man, it's crazy, man. It definitely was a dope intro to the book. He talked about the first time he met Kel, which is a hilarious story. It reminded me of a Key and Peele sketch. Because he said when they was there, it was like him and they were the only two black kids there on a set of All That. And he looked at him, and Kel looked at him, and they gave each other a head nod. And he was like, all right, we cool, we good. Which I thought it was funny, man, because they didn't even know how much history they was about to make together as a unit, as a team. Funny story. A lot of funny stories. He talked about how as a kid, he booked this fried chicken commercial and he knew it was so racist. Like, this is a racist ass commercial. He says they kept telling him, like, bite a bigger piece of the chicken, because it was a fried chicken commercial somewhere in Tennessee. And he was like, man, and he looked at the older guy that he was in the scene with. The older guy was fucking the chicken up. And he was like, man, this is some bull. Like, I don't want to eat this chicken like that. Like, this is messed up. He said till he got paid, he saw how much the check was. He was like, yo, what else y'all need me to eat? Like, come on, I got you. Bring it over here. I got it. Jokingly, of course, but it was just hilarious. Another funny part of this book that he was talking about was his first real movie was Mighty Ducks 2, and how he beat out the little kid from Boys in the Hood that was playing Ice Cube. So, you know, funny little behind the scenes story. But he said that he lied on his application and told him that he know how to roller skate, but he didn't. And so if you know the Mighty Ducks movie, that's the majority of the movie just skating. So he was saying how much he was busting his behind on set trying to learn how to skate when he got there. He's ready to quit already because his body was so bruised up. But his mom was like, nah, we gonna finish through, and ended up paying off. But I just thought it was funny how he got the role and didn't even know how to skate. He brought up Nick Cannon a few times, and he was talking about how Nick Cannon was always kind of a player and kind of into girls, and how at 16 he was driving back and forth to the studios already. He had his own BMW, and Nick was already a grown-er, way growner and way more mature than he was, because he was already moving around in the city. And he was talking about how his, Nick Cannon work ethic was crazy. How he'll be at the studio all day shooting films and movies, and he'd come home and hop right in the studio, because they had like I think they was roommates at the time. And how Nick would come home and just jump right in the studio making beats, making music, and learn how to teach himself how to rap and all that. And say what you want about his rap career, it's still impressive what his career has turned into today. He talked about his first kiss on set, and he sounded just like Jeanette McCurdy, how uncomfortable it was and how weird it was and how he didn't like it, and how he was just trying to get it over with. And I just think it's crazy, man, how these kids be having a kiss on camera and it be like the wildest, most uncomfortable thing to do out there. Like, bro, like, stop making these kids kiss on camera. Cut it out. It's wild. It's weird. Stop. Another crazy thing, he talked about how, later on in the book as it progressed, how Kenan and Kel and all them kid shows had ended, and he didn't know what he was going to do. And so he started going to comedy clubs, and he always felt extremely unwanted in these environments, because the people there was always like, yo, you don't belong here. You already rich. You already famous. Don't be trying to come in here and steal our limelight. And it just wowed to me, like, damn, like, people wouldn't be like excited for the opportunity to work with him. They was more threatened by the idea of losing the spot. And I just think that's crazy, because if I was like trying to be a stand-up comic or something like that, like hypothetically what I'm doing now with these book reviews, and I met Keith Lee, I'm gonna be hyped. Like, yo, that's crazy, this Keith Lee. I'm not gonna be like, get away from me. Don't be trying to come into the book review game and steal my, I don't know. That's just the way I am as a person to hold though. So I don't know, maybe I look at things differently, but I just thought that was crazy. One of the craziest stories was how he got robbed by his accountant. He was done acting. He came back to the A. He found his dream house. He was about to buy it, and he was done with acting. He was about to chill out for the rest of his life. And he told his accountant he about to buy this crib. He put the bread up, put the money up. He did everything he was supposed to do, and his accountant never showed up. Disappeared on him. He ghosted him. He called him like 1,000 times, like voicemails, did everything he could to try to get in contact with his accountant. Accountant ghosted him. So he put up in his accountant house and was just sitting there like, yo, I'm waiting for you, bro. So his accountant called him like, my neighbor said somebody been sitting in my yard, my driveway all night. He took him, he's like, all right, well, I'll be there in the morning. I'm going to take you to the bank to get your money so you can buy your house. He said he took him to the bank, and it was an okie doke because he never seen the accountant again. He said he robbed him for millions. He wasn't able to buy the house. He ain't had no money. And he had to pay the IRS. The IRS came after him. The same thing that happened to Fat Joe. After their accountant robbed him, the IRS come to get their bread because the accountant be stealing their money and not paying their taxes. So he didn't know what he was going to do. He had to start over. And it's just unfortunate, and it's crazy. And he said his mom was the one that hooked him up with the accountant out of a member out of the church. Church motherfuckers, man. So he ended up having to start all over. Crazy, man, and wildly unfortunate. So as he started getting, back in LA, he had like a 3-4 year stretch where he was broke, borrowing money from people, really in a fucked up spot, man. And he talked about how he finally started slowly booking roles like he did Love Don't Cost a Thing. And Kenan looked out for him, but it wasn't the biggest payday. He was talking about how he had to get roommates. And then he got on Barbershop. He was saying how Eve was so dope, how Eve was like taking everybody to the movies, like inviting everybody on her tour bus, feeding people. Like Eve just had a good ass soul. He talked about a lot of people. He gave a lot of big ups to people though. And he finally talked about how he started getting auditions, and the audition for Saturday Night Live was crazy. He said because he didn't have no stand-up material, so the first audition, they wanted him to do 5 minutes of stand-up. The second audition was like a part of the show. Then a third audition, they wanted him to do 10 minutes of stand-up, but he ain't had no material. And he was saying like he was up against JB Smoove, and he was saying how JB Smoove is the best. Ain't nobody better than JB Smoove. JB Smoove could do 10 minutes with his eyes closed. Like, he was just saying how he was just shocked that he actually got the role, but they hired JB Smoove as a writer. So that was dope that he finally got back on. So in the book, he went into the Kel thing and that issue. And the way he described it, from my understanding, this is not his exact words, so please don't go after that man. But the way I understood it was, Kel started getting burnt out from his marriages, from everything that he was dealing with, and Kel started burning bridges with people, and he didn't want to be typecast as Kenan Kel for the rest of his career. He wanted his own trajectory, so he started doing different things to put himself in position to kind of separate himself from Kenan Kel. And I'm sure Kel didn't appreciate it or look at that kind of sideways, but he did not want to be tied to that for the rest of his life, kind of like a Cheech and Chong thing. He was trying to develop his own identity, which I get and I understand. He was saying also Kel was getting tired of people asking about him in the interviews. Everywhere he go, every time he brought up, they always ask him about Kenan Kel. So he got tired of it and started kind of saying little slick stuff in the media, which he kind of got mad at, but you can understand if somebody been asking you something for 12 years. And he was saying like how both families was hurt because they wasn't talking, but because they was so close. He was even spending the night at Kel house when they was getting on. Initially, when his mom and them couldn't make it, he would spend the night over there all the time. Kenan Kel, that's funny. But he also talked about how they eventually talked it out, squashed the issues, and became cool. And it was the most heartfelt, sincere version of a story that you can hear. You could tell he really cared about Kel, how much he really appreciated him, how much he missed and valued that relationship and that friendship. And it was definitely, it was moving to me to hear another man talk about him like that, another man talk about another man like that, without it being no jealousy, without it being no hate, without it being no nonsense. So he did eventually make sure that Kel got taken care of when they did start shooting movies again. When they did Good Burger 2, when they started doing sketches, he did make sure that Kel got taken care of financially and they didn't try to get over him and rob him. Because he also had the star power now, because he was in a position of power. He made sure that they took care of him. And overall from this book, man, I thought it was a great book, a great read. Lessons in humility, being humble, staying consistent, looking at opportunities in different ways, not always trying to be the richest person on the block, and consistency can pay off in different ways than you expect. So it was a lot of good, amazing things that I got from this book, a lot of different lessons that I got from this book that I've actually been using already in my life. So it's definitely something that I suggest that y'all check out. It's a great book, great read. Kenan Thompson, I appreciate it. This Pedo with another book review. Out. What's going on? Yo, this Pedo. If you into books, you into reading, you into learning, hearing things that you never heard, stories that you never heard, and learning to work on your mental health, to develop and becoming a better person, a better man, a better son, a better father, follow me. Subscribe. Help me get my subscribers up. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Right now I'm at like 2. But nah, in all seriousness, if you're really into the things that I'm into, follow me. I'm going to be dropping dope content all the time. It's Pedo. Check me out. Follow me. Engage with me. Let me know y'all want to read some books, what y'all want to talk about. I'm here. It's Pedo. Let's get it.